Moving on now to our special focus on the buck stops here tonight. Education has become the latest flashpoint in the Kashmir Valley. In a shocking and unforgivable pattern now, between 25 to 28 schools are estimated to have been burnt and torched in the last 2 months. While nobody is stepping up to claim responsibility for the burning of these schools, the state government has lashed out at separatists, putting the blame at their doorstep. Separatists are saying this is a false allegation. Opposition parties are blaming both the state government and the separatists. In the midst of it all are the children. Lakhs of children who have not been able to attend school, and the newest flashpoint whether exams should be held in these circumstances or not. Just one statistic, 9 schools were torched in September alone. A sudden spike took that number up to 18 in October. In the past 4 days, 6 schools have been set on fire across the valley, 2 on a single day on the 30th of October. Like we said, absolutely shocking and unpardonable, literally an act of madness. Joining us now is Sajad Lone from Srinagar, a minister, of course, in the ruling government there. Sajad, this is really, really shocking. It doesn't matter what your ideology is, what your party is, what your belief is, but schools being set on fire and nobody being able to explain who is doing this. What's going on?
Well, it's very sad that one of the most sacred institutions where our children go to school are being burnt in acts of arson. And it's not difficult. One doesn't need to be a genius to understand. The same people who were involved in strife and did not allow these young kids to go to school for the last 4 months, some form of them, some extension of them is doing all this. I mean, there are absolutely no prizes for guessing that who is doing all this.
What do you mean there are no prizes for guessing who is doing all this? If you are aware of who is doing all this, why don't you come out and say so? And why isn't the state government acting against who is doing this?
I think I have said this. The same people who have been involved in the strife, the same set of writers, there are hundreds of them. Obviously, it's difficult to guard every school, and it is a shame on any nation if it has to guard its school that they might get burnt. No country, no place, no state on earth can guard all its schools, And it's, as I told you, it's a matter of shame that we're scared that somebody will come and burn the alma mater, the schools. So the same people, say the writers who are pelting stones, the people who did not allow children to attend schools in the last 4 months are the ones who are doing it.
Now, you said...
Well, I might not be able to pinpoint which individual.
Yes, but are you blaming the separatists?
But certainly they're doing.
Are you blaming the separatists? Are you blaming the...
Yeah, all of them, of course. Of course they're part of it, all of them, all of them. Where they might not do it themselves, but the culture that they've inculcated, the culture of impunity, the culture of strife, the culture of writing, this is what happens. They might not be directing it, but they're certainly responsible for it.
Now, Sajad, if you believe that the state government is aware of who is behind this or who is instigating this, then shouldn't there have been a much more firm response, a much more public crackdown? We are looking at this bizarre situation where the police is not able to actually name the people who are doing this. You say that no state can protect all of its schools, but isn't the ultimate responsibility of protecting these schools on your administration?
No, I do understand. The administration can't say that we don't have a responsibility to protect schools. But, Barka, you have to understand, there are thousands of schools, all across. It's like a hit-and-run target. So where somebody comes and indulges in arson. Don't put this on the state government. And no government on earth can protect all its schools, and I mean it. It's very difficult. What you have to look at is the people who are doing it. Please shift the focus on them, that how bizarre it can get. That the sacred institution of learning where young children go, where we impart them education, even they are not being spared. I think you kindly put the focus on that. हमारा government का कोई गलती होगा, हम माफी मांग लेंगे. But don't shift the focus on the bigger thing. The schools are being burnt.
I absolutely agree with you that it's abominable. Whoever does this, there are no words actually to describe this kind of assault on children. What is the fault of children? I agree with you on that. But you know, Mirwais Omar Farooq, the Hurriyat conference leader, says on Twitter that this is an attempt to defame us. It's an attempt to defame the position we've taken, our ideological positions. We are not responsible for this. This is a false narrative. So he's denying the state government allegation that the separatists are responsible for this.
Now, Barka, look, I'll tell you one thing. We really don't need to even lift our little finger to defame them. I think they have enough defamed themselves in the last 4 months, right? I did not stop people from going to school. I did not. I think somebody from his ilk politically did it. So let's not go. This has been since 1989. Humne nahi kiya, unne kiya. Now this is a worn out thing, a fatigued thing, that you do something and then put the blame on somebody else. And I don't think there are many takers on it. Why on earth should government do it, for heaven's sake? We want the kids to go back to school. You know, we want them to appear in their exams. We wanted it for the last 4 months. And all of a sudden, you know, this is, I think they're defaming themselves even more.
But why not a crackdown? Why is the state government not cracking down on whoever's doing this? Crack down on who's doing this?
Do you really think that people who do it, they're there and then we let them go? That's not the case. That's not the case. They do it and then, as I told you, it's like a typical hit and run. You know, you don't even know who's done it. And I'm sure that the state government, the police, is after it, and the moment they get the remotest hint who is involved, let me assure you, the state government will not spare anybody.
There has been a controversy in the media suggesting that Syed Ali Shah Gilani, the pro-Pakistan hardliner leader, that his grandchild was able to take exams uninterrupted in DPS Srinagar. DPS has not confirmed or denied that, except to say that the child does study in DPS Srinagar. How do you see this controversy? Because this has also become a talking point now in the valley.
Look, Barka, apparently the child is less than 18 years old and she has her own rights. So let's not violate her rights by linking her to her grandfather. What her grandfather does, he has to answer his own conscience. But let us respect the rights of the child here.
Sajad, there is a statement from Omar Abdullah, the former chief minister, who says both the government and the separatists are responsible, that the state government did not actually get its act together, and the Hurriyat leaders must have the courage to say the right thing at the right time. So the opposition is targeting both the separatists and the state government.
No, I respect his right to go into the tradition of attacking the state government for the sake of it. But I do appreciate his other part of the comment, in which he, I think for the first time since this strife began, has had the courage to take on the separatists, which I think is a welcome step, because what he says now is making much more sense than what he was talking 4 months back, in which he was almost speaking or was indistinctive from what they were saying. So that's a welcome step, but you know, he has to attack the opposition. Well taken, you know, there is nothing wrong. But on this, to be very honest, any government in our place could have done little, because say 2 boys come all of a sudden in some remote school, try to burn it and run away. But the police, of course, will keep a vigil and hopefully will be able to nab.
How does this stop? Because one of the controversies has been that there are children who are saying in these circumstances we cannot, this is not a culture where exams can be taken, right? This has become a big controversy now in the Kashmir Valley, that in these circumstances, with schools barely open through this strife, with the how can you have children taking exams? How do you see this? Do you see this as a valid fear among children and their parents?
Things are much better. No, don't, let's not create this phobia. Things are improving. You know, the roads are jammed with traffic, right? What you saw 2 months back, there's a sea of difference. You know, some schools have been targeted, but there are thousands others. So there is no such thing that there is a culture where there is a fear where exams can't be taken. You have to understand, Barka, that the government will decide when examinations will be conducted. The proponents of strife or creating conditions of strife should not dictate when exams will be held.
Let me ask you.
There is no such fear. I mean, things have improved.
No, do you believe things have improved enough that even though the schools have not been open, the exams can be taken? Because the parents are saying that the schools have been closed. And that's the problem. There hasn't.
How many parents did you talk to Barka, how many parents did you talk to?
I'm just giving you a point of view.
Why
What
are
do
you
you
quoting
think?
the parents?
What do you
No,
think?
no, don't quote the parents. How many did you talk to?
I'm saying you're a parent also. What do you think? What do you think as a parent, given what we've seen in the last few months?
I think, you know, I think the decision of the Honorable Education Minister to conduct examinations on time is a valid one, and I think they should pursue with it.
Last question. Where does the
examinations are a reality?
yeah. Last question. Where does the buck stop? Who takes responsibility? Who has to stand up and take accountability for this torching of these schools?
No, of course, the people who do it, the people who indulge in it. But as a government, as a responsible government, I can assure you that the government will go all out and ensure, hopefully, see to it that the culprits are nabbed and brought to justice. And that we will do whatever it takes to ensure that this alma mater, this seat of innocence, this sacred seat of the sacred institution of our young generation, you know, we are there to protect it and to protect it. The buck stops with those people who call hartals, who have cultivated conditions of strife, and once it goes beyond them or they can't control it, you know, directly or indirectly, they can't, you know, they can't shy away and say no, it's not, they are not to blame.
We leave it there. Sajat Lone, Minister in the PDP-BJP government, leader of the People's Conference. Thank you so much for joining us. An abominable pattern in the Kashmir Valley with children now literally trapped between the battle lines under assault with their futures quite literally gutted.